Hey, everybody. It's Eric J. Olson, and
Hey,
we are live once again with our Lunchtime Live. And I have a super special guest today, Evelyn Arnette, who happens to be my very first client from way back in the day. Hey, Evelyn, how you doing?
hey, good. How are you?
Super fantastic. Thanks for joining us. So, when I
Good.
decided to go off on my own 8 years ago, I started to freelance nights and weekends, and I went on to Elance, which is now Upwork, and I
Yeah.
found a business owner who was looking for some help with her projects and her software, and that's what I was doing at the time. And I said, I'd be interested in that gig. And Evelyn was the person who posted that, and she picked me. So that's how we know each other. Can you believe it's been 8 years?
It's been a long time. It's weird how things have evolved in 8 years.
It is amazing. So, well, Evelyn, I appreciate your time. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Well, I'm Evelyn Arnette. I own a customer's point of view. We do mystery shopping, and I call professional snooping on clients and employees. We've been doing it for going on 20 in January. It'll be 24 years. We are in Metro Atlanta, about 30 minutes south of Atlanta. Personally, I am originally from New York, been in a Georgia peach for a while, enjoying it. So that's pretty much a snippet of ACP View and me.
All right, ACP view. So, customer's point of view. So, well, maybe can you give a little bit of background, like what is mystery shopping? What does that mean?
Mystery shopping, we are hired by different clients. It could be a retailer, a restaurant, or prime mystery shopping clients. But just about anyone that has a client, call centers. I do a lot of transit, airports, doctor's offices, and they hire the mystery shopping company to evaluate the service or the customer experience when someone walks in their business or called their business. What happens, how are they treated, and is it something we can do better, or we're not doing well at all?
Gotcha. Okay. So, why would someone say a business owner or someone who's running a business, why would they need that versus just walking into the business themselves?
One, it could be, well, when you walk in, like when you walk into your business or I walk into mine, they know me, and everyone's on their best behavior. And the difference is when I walk out, or any owner or manager walks out, what is truly going on? How is the average person treated that comes in, not just the one that may be standing there when the manager's there looking at you.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe not so much here at Array Digital, but in the past when I've worked at places, and I've come around the corner, I'll catch employees like doing a very quick keystroke, and then they're staring at their like computer desktop, and there's
Mhm.
nothing on there, and it's like,
Yeah,
what just happened here? So something was
yeah.
there, and now it's not because I'm looking. So that's funny that you do that. So okay, so to me it sounds like you get hired by a client
Hmm.
and they want you to do mystery shopping. Uh, I I assume you don't do it all yourself, so then you
No.
have to go find mystery shoppers,
Mm.
right? And so as a mystery shopper, what does that entail? How does that work?
It entails the mystery shopper is actually the person that visits the location, does the not so much evaluating or opinion, um, feedback on how they were treated, being very objective as much as possible because we all have opinions. Uh, and to get started, you usually have to register on a site. We review your application. Once you're accepted, you would submit a report online to us. We review the report for grammar, spelling, make sure it's correct, make sure you were actually at the location, and that you're providing information that a business owner or client needs before submitting it to them.
When you started doing this, what was it? Was it paper based? Did you like what was
Yeah.
the system that you used to? 'Cause, I mean, like by the time I got involved with you 8 years ago, which was then I guess about 16 years into your progression, you had
Mhm.
a you had a software program, and there's a lot for those that have never done this. There's a lot of data that
Yeah.
the client wants these questions asked, and then the shopper has to identify themselves to the system, answer the questions. It's all got to go over to the client. There's a lot that goes on there. I was quite impressed. So yeah, what was it, paper based in the beginning?
Yes, very, very, very paper based. As I started as a mystery shopper in 1996, they would mail the form to you because the internet was kind of new, very new, and basic email at that time. They would mail the form to you. You would fill it out and mail it back to them. Then it started getting to faxing, and then the form was in the email, and then there were online to where there's now online systems. So yeah, yeah, very antiquated.
Things have changed quite a bit. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Do you have it to the point now where there's a mobile app and you can provide that feedback almost live?
pretty much we can. We use a off the shelf kind of system now. It's somewhat mobile for the most part, on the shopper side more so than our side, and definitely mobile for the client. So
There you go. So how would it work? Like let's say someone who's watching wants to be a mystery shopper. Or they're thinking about it. Certainly, they're not doing it just for the fun of it. How does all
no,
this work?
well they get paid. In some cases, you get paid and get compensated with merchandise or meal. If you do a restaurant, you pay yourself and then you get reimbursed plus pay for most companies.
Hmm.
Some of them just do reimbursement. Retail, the same thing. If you're required to purchase something, they would reimburse you plus pay. You would register online. Every company has an online database, and you would need to register with each company individually. There are some associations you can start with if you wanted to get a bunch of companies at once, a list of companies. One is the Mystery Shoppers Providers Association, which is called the MSPA. Uh, IMSC is another one where you can go on their website and just get a list of companies to apply to.
Nice. That's awesome. So as a mystery shopper, you're going to get paid,
Hmm.
and you get that product or service for free as well, right? So like if you go
Yes.
to a restaurant, I'm guessing you get a budget, spend up to $50 or $100 on dinner.
Hmm.
So you get $100 dinner and you get paid.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
that's pretty awesome. So
Yes.
I would imagine that once someone becomes a mystery shopper, they remain a mystery shopper because then I'm guessing also like you can kind of pick and choose where you want to shop, right? Is that how it
You
works?
can. You can pick your own assignments. You're an independent contractor versus an employee. So that allows you a little more flexibility. When you're mystery shopping, you can do it for several companies. So yeah, you get to pick your assignments. This is not I don't want to go this day. I'll go Wednesday. So it's great for like incremental holiday. I got laid off type of income, or on a regular basis, do so many every month.
That's pretty cool. So
Mm.
let's share your website real quick. So I do want to dig into maybe like the business aspect a little bit more, and in particular how things have changed in the last, what are we at now, about 8 months into the
Yeah,
pandemic. But
yeah.
for anyone that's interested in applying, this is your website. Is this the best place to go?
Yes. And the website is www.acpviewview.com. And on the upper right, go under Work for Us. And we have information, FAQs, answering all your burning questions about becoming a mystery shopper.
That is really, really nice. So I will put a banner up right now so that anybody who is interested, that is the URL, acpview.com. Go there and
Yes.
you can apply. Fantastic. Well, cool. So yeah, let's talk a little bit. about the business, how things have been, and then also a lot of people that tune into these lunchtime lives are marketers. They're always interested in knowing like how how you go about finding business, how you go about communicating the value of your business, things like that. So, yeah. So you have a marketplace that you've created here. You have the sellers, I guess they would be your
Mhm.
clients, and then you have the buyers who are the shoppers. How do you go about building up both of those groups of people?
The client's a little bit easier than the shopper, especially considering current times. The client, what we've done is become experts in a field. In particular, a lot of our clients are
Mhm.
transit systems and agencies. So we've joined their organizations, we go to their conferences, we participate in the committees, and in a sense to become like a expert, industry expert as far as customer service, right? Customer experience on a bus, train, or mobility vehicle. That one's a little easier. So a lot of them are starting to us saying, "Hey, I heard from you from this one," or "I used to work at this agency and we used to use you there, and now I'm managing over here." So that's how the client comes in a lot of the times. As far as the shopper, not as easy as the client, because if you get a new project, say in Seattle, then you have to start recruiting riders in that area. Um, every blue moon, depending on how close or far the area is, we may send people directly from here, there, but usually that's just if it's like a once project or one hit. If it's a regular basis, we recruit locally. Our database, we have an online database, the one you just mentioned on the website where you can register. In addition, different organizations for mystery shopping that we're members of that have databases. Uh, our social media, we recruit from. So it's a wide variety, friends and family. Do you know someone in Seattle, Washington? Whatever the case may be. Social
So
organizations in the area.
gotcha. So yeah, a couple things that you mentioned. The first part was about how you've joined these industry trade groups, and you've really kind of become an expert in a couple of different industries. So yeah, we talk about that a
Mhm.
lot on Lunchtime Live, and then at Array Digital about niching and the power of niching. Did you start
Yes.
off in a particular niche, or did you just help everybody, every kind of business?
Everything and everyone I could get, I helped.
Anything
But
for
I
money, right?
eventually, yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I gotta eat. But then after you kind of get comfortable with that, like traditional retail and restaurants and mystery shopping, I found out I was competing one with much larger companies. Two, a lot of the clients became aware of what was going on, and you would see clients every couple of years switch to a different provider trying to get the service cheaper. And my thing was, well, I don't want to compete that way because I cannot compete on that lower price that low. So I said, well, I'm going to have to go outside the box and find something where there's very, very little competition. And just happened to be riding I'm originally from New York, was visiting on a train one day, was dissatisfied with the service. And I'm like, I wonder why I never thought about trains and buses. They need the service as well. And so that's how I started working on that particular niche.
That's fantastic. So what you found, just to kind of summarize, it sounds like when you serviced everybody, it was just kind of the natural inclination, but it was a commodity
Mhm.
play because everyone else serviced everybody as well. And if
Yeah.
you're a commodity, the only way that you can really compete is on price. And people don't really care about what
Yes,
ACP View does versus the competitor. They just want it cheap, right?
that's
So
it.
and that's brilliant. When you niched and you started to go into the transportation segment, did you find that they had that attitude as well, or was it just totally different?
No, they didn't have that attitude. One, because there weren't that many people at all approaching them. Um, as far as I'm offering the service to them. So, and a lot of them weren't even aware it was something that was available. So, no, they didn't have the let's get the cheapest price and invite 10 or 20 companies into bid. Not at all.
What did that mean for the business once you started to niche down a little bit? I mean, did you get more clients? Did you grow? How, more money? How did
All,
that all the above?
all we started getting more clients and making more money. Um, and then because of our expertise, could kind of increase the price a little bit more than what we would charge on the traditional restaurant retailer. Because one, we were experts, um, and we knew a little bit more about it. We could talk their lingo and those types of things.
And then I'm guessing with additional revenue and profits, you could reinvest into more efficient systems like the tool that you and I worked
Mm,
on, and I know you've replaced since then, and probably even like
yeah.
pay for the shoppers, I would imagine, went up. So a lot of
Yes.
benefits, huh?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So we do have a comment here. I'm going to put it on the screen. So uh, maybe we could talk towards this, and you don't have to give
Yes.
particular numbers, but the comment is that the payout for mystery shopping that this person is seeing are relatively small. My guess is that maybe that's for like the general mystery shopping community, kind of like you talked about. If there's not that opportunity for niching, is that what you found?
Yeah. General is relatively small. The best way to do it to make money, you have to set in a sense, a circuit up for yourself. Um, for example, a lot of companies do what are called gas stations, and they usually it's like a $5 reimbursement or $5 in gas. I would pick, if it was me, pick gas stations on a certain route. Do them all same day where it's beneficial to you, where you're not losing money. And then maybe for lunch, stop at the restaurant for a mystery shop. Eat there, but you would need to sign up with several different companies. But yeah, and then make yourself a sense of circuit. And then maybe after lunch, you go to do an apartment shop 2 blocks up. And there's a lot of the mystery shopping software out there now is up for that, where you register with one company, you're able to see shops in a certain area for every company that is using that software. So where you can make a circuit and make it beneficial to you to do it.
That's really neat. So that's the way that okay. So to address this comment, yeah, if you're gonna do general shops, then yeah, do a circuit. Try to like maximize it. Do like you said, gas stations and lunch and dinners, and you get paid and you get those products that you
Mhm.
don't have to pay for now. And so every little bit helps. It makes me think about a couple of years ago, I broke my ankle and it was my right foot, and I couldn't drive because I had a boot on for 2 months. And so
Yeah.
I Ubered and took Lyft a lot. And every time I
Mhm.
went into a vehicle, I would talk to the driver and I'd ask like, hey, how did you get into this, and how often you do it and whatnot.
Mhm.
And what I found was that a lot of the drivers didn't do it full time like I expected. They would get off of work or they were going to work, and they had to go from point A to point B anyways. And so they're like, well, I'll
Yeah.
take a couple of people, and then eventually get towards home, and then I'll be done. And so since they had to commute
Mhm.
anyways, they're going to make some money while doing it. Imagine if you also
Yeah.
layered in mystery shopping, right? So get your gas for free
Mhm.
and you drive people around on an Uber or Lyft. I mean, you could get a lot of your expenses paid for if that's something you want to do. I'm guessing it's also not super easy or like natural. It takes a little bit of work, right, to make these things happen. But
Yes.
it could offset a
Yeah.
lot of your expenses and make some
Yes.
cash. So that's pretty cool. What
Yeah.
about so the actual shoppers? You mentioned a couple of different ways, like friends and family asking people if they know shoppers, social media. Have you found one way that you think is really efficient? One or two ways that are like the best ways to get shoppers, especially in a new area?
One of the best ways we find them is there's Yahoo Groups is about to go away. There's a group for several different mystery shopping companies have a group on Yahoo with the schedulers and people recruiting for shoppers. So if you have someone, you need someone in San Antonio, hey, does anyone have shoppers in San Antonio? And whoever does will send the list to that person. That's about the easiest because these are also other people in the industry and they already know which ones are the good ones. Hey, don't mess with Susie. She'll cancel on you every time or whatever the case is. Or John is really good, that type thing. That's one of the better ones. The other ones, the social media,
Hit or miss?
and that may be me. But
I'm
uh,
guessing there are groups like on Facebook. You mentioned Yahoo
there
groups.
are,
There's probably the same kinds of groups on like
yes,
Facebook and yeah. So yeah,
yeah, there's
so you could
several,
post there if you needed to, right?
yes. And
But
those have
it's
worked out pretty good.
yeah, that's interesting. So it's what's interesting about what you were talking about was really leveraging your competitors, right? Because
Yeah,
you're going to go to other people that have lists of mystery shoppers. Those other people are your competitors, right? But you're cooperating.
yes.
Yeah. So when I first started in business, I didn't cooperate with anybody. I just it was every man for himself kind of a
Yeah,
situation, and I just thought everyone was my competition, and I didn't want to say anything. Even when I was an employee, I was very very closed off. I was not transparent, and when after a few years in business, I realized that it can actually be very helpful to
yeah.
have a relationship with the community at large.
Hmm.
Certainly, your employees, very open communication, and then with competitors.
Yes.
And a lot of times, like we'll pass leads back and forth. Like
Mhm.
there's 5 or 10 competitors that I know, but I know exactly the kinds of clients that they're looking for, and they know what we're looking for. And so when
Yeah,
I come across someone that's not a fit, I send it their way, and vice versa. It works
yeah,
out for everybody. So
yeah,
that's interesting to hear that they'll actually share a list with you of mystery shoppers in a particular area that you're going into.
yeah, yeah. It makes it easier for all of us.
Yeah. How has COVID impacted operations?
Ooh. We reduced expenses a lot. Um, Unfortunately, some people were laid off. Some we did start bringing some back. Some by that time I found other things to do. Some did come back, so we do have a reduced staff, which we would need anyway. Um, as and that's on the operations side. On the client side, some of them have stopped services. Either they were willing to continue to go, but their state shut down, or it got to where money became an issue because a lot of my clients are transit systems and depended on people paying to ride. Ridership decreased. People were not going in stores. The airport was actually, several of the terminals were closed, and therefore all the shops, over close to almost 200 shops, were closed at the airport. So it's affected it, but things are starting to open up. And there were some that just kept going because depending on the reason why they started the program initially anyway, it may have been for government monitoring, court cases, or whatever the case may be, are still rolling. So, it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, you mentioned airport shops. We went to me and Kevin, the co-founder of Array Digital. We went to Durango, Colorado, a couple weeks ago, and
Okay.
we were laid over in Dallas, and we were starving, and there was one place open, Wendy's, and everything else was shut down. All the restaurants were shut down. All the retail spots. It was pretty wild to see Dallas just not quite like you've seen Dallas in the past.
Because we used to do the mystery shops for Dallas Airport. So Yeah, I
All
can
right.
imagine. But it looked like a ghost
That's
town.
right. Yep. I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
So we have someone here who is asking how to be a shopper. I am going to post that on social media, but let me bring it up here and let's show that one more time. So here's Frank Tomaso. Hey, Frank, asking, so where does one go to sign up to be a shopper? So, Frank, one would go right here to ACP View.
That's it.
Yeah. And here is the URL in case you can't, well, it's not on the screenshot. So yeah, ACP View. And you said go to work for us, right? Get paid to
Yeah.
shop. There you go. All right, Evelyn. Well, I really appreciate your time
Well, thank you for
and
having
I
me.
and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity 8 years ago to work with you. That was a really big it was a big break for me, honestly.
Okay.
And it's something I thought about a lot over the last couple of years. Actually, I have a book coming out in a
Oh,
couple of weeks, and it's
oh,
about what it took for us to get up to $1 million in revenue. It took about
okay.
8 years.
Okay.
It's been an 11-year journey total for me, and I tell the story about how when I decided that I wanted to freelance, that I went on Elance. Again, that's now Upwork,
Okay.
and very quickly got one or two jobs, and yours was the first one. So I talk about that a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, this is the first time we're actually seeing each other,
I
even though
know.
we've worked together for years.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
My how technology has changed. We probably had video chat back then, but we just didn't do it. It wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I
Nothing like
appreciate your
this.
time, Evelyn.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.